So I can't leave a full episode today because I'm out in the country for the holidays, countryside, I should say, and the reception and the Wi-Fi is terrible here, so I won't be able to upload it. So I want to just leave you with a message, and I was in meditation this morning, and every morning when I'm in meditation, I always kind of connect into my guides, my angels, my higher self, my soul, and ask for a message. You know, what is the message for me today that I need to receive? And what I received for today was just very, very simple. It was just be in your heart, love unconditionally, and be in the state of compassion. And just see how your day unfolds from that place. And then I really just felt and, could visualize just what would the world look like if we resided in our hearts more often and if we came from a place of compassion. It reminded me of how when I was in my 20s and I had a very strong Buddhist practice and I was meditating, daily, and I was going to silent retreats, that place of compassion was a state of being that I frequented a lot. And it really does alter everything because it brings in, the best way that I can describe it is it brings in this warmth towards yourself, this warmth towards others, and towards just situations where you look at it not as something that comes up that is a bother or an inconvenience or something that, judgment comes in and creates like a fighting against and a fighting amongst each other, one another. It really like softens the edges, and I really felt in that period of my life like my light was so expanded. I felt very expansive and then very magnetic, because when you're in your heart, and your heart, the vibration of your heart is so powerful, the frequency of your heart is so powerful, that when you're really embodying and living from and within that place, you just become so magnetic, because that whole vibration just radiates out, emanates out like the rays of the sun. And so I remember that part of my life don't get me wrong, I really went through struggle as well, like my 20s, woo, me. But I understood that state of being. I really understood that state of being. And whenever I can remember and tap in, it does feel like warm and cozy and soft and like home, because that is our true nature. And as human beings, like, that is your true nature. And I really want to stress this point, because I was scrolling through Instagram and there was a reel that came up, and it was from a snippet of some movie. And I don't watch films anymore because for many, many reasons. Every now and again, if a good one comes up, but I can see the manipulation, the messaging, the subliminal messaging that comes through a lot of films. And it was with Julia Roberts, and she was in this very serious monologue, basically talking about how horrible human beings are, how horrible we are, that we are the problem of this planet. And I know that there's a certain movement that believes that, and that message has really been manipulated into the collective consciousness, but it's not true. And you might go, but Corinne, look at the planet. And I'm like, you know what my response to that is going to be? Is there are influences on this planet, corporations specifically, that are damaging and destroying this planet. It filters down into the human collective because humans are very susceptible. They're very impressionable. They're very easily influenced. And this is why critical thinking, and this is why being in your authenticity and in your heart and in the knowing of yourself, know thyself. Because when you are in that place, you can have discernment and you can see what's right, what's not right, what's true, what's not true. And it's not about getting into that polarity and duality, but your being will know when something is off. An example of that is there was a professor that was, there was a screen and he showed two big circles. One circle filled in was blue, another circle immediately next to it was red. And he prefaces it by saying, I know you'll think that these two circles are the same size, but they're actually not. So I'd like you to raise your hand who believes that the blue circle is bigger than the red. And half the class put their hands up. He's like, okay, now I'd like to know who in here believes that the red circle is bigger. And, the other people raise their hands. And he goes, okay, I'm going to let you know which one is really bigger. He says, they're both exactly the same. And you intuitively, instinctually knew that from the beginning. But because I told you that one is bigger than the other, you believed that. And then your mind went into, well, which one is bigger than the other? And he said, but your instinct and your intuition knew immediately. It was the first thing you immediately knew when you saw it, they were equal. And that was right. That was true. So it's such a good example. And we're living in a world where we have to be incredibly alert and very mindful because there's huge amounts of manipulation, right? But one of them is the messaging that human beings are terrible. We're not terrible. It depends on what you focus on and what you look at. And yes, there are forces that manipulate through fear and division and hatred and war, and they will continue to do it until we stop playing their game. So the message today is remember the compassionate, loving being that you are. A baby does not come into this world manipulative. It doesn't come in an asshole. It might have its past karma, sure, but it doesn't come in an asshole. It comes in as pure essence and love, unconditional love. So the invitation is to go throughout your days. And I know the holiday can be testing with family and travel. But the moment you feel yourself coming up a point of like, oh, there's judgment or there's resistance or there's frustration or there's anger or there's a trigger, can you come into your compassionate heart? Feel compassion for yourself first if you're struggling, because once you can have compassion for yourself, it's like the oxygen mask in a plane, right? They say put on your oxygen mask first and then help other people. You can't help other people if you run out of air. So give yourself compassion first. Be kind and gentle to yourself first. And then I want you to notice how you are able, you do have the capacity. You are fully capable and able to come into your heart, to feel compassion because it's your true nature. It's not something that you need to cultivate, something that you need to remember. And then extend that compassion towards your family members, towards your friends, towards the fellow travelers, towards the people at security if you're traveling, whatever it is. Can you treat every person and every situation from a place of compassion and notice how it makes your world seem more soft, more beautiful, more loving, more wonderful? And just notice the difference. Notice how it makes you feel. Notice what it gives you in return, because it's all energy, my friends. It's all energy. And if we want to step into this new year of 2025, and we are the creators of the world, because they harness our focus and our energy, but they harness it through fear and chaos, right? And unworthiness and not good enough and insecurity. And where you focus, energy flows, right? So you get to choose, you get to discern, where do you want to place your focus? And where you place your focus, you place your intention and attention, right? And that's what then gets created and manifested into the world. This is the crazy simulation that we're in, but the beautiful thing, the empowering thing is you get to create it. But it requires discipline. It requires that discernment So be careful whether you choose love or fear, because based on that choice, you're going to create a very specific reality for yourself. It's not to turn a blind eye to what's happening into the world, but it's to alchemize what is happening in the world. Fear, it's like hatred does not beget, hatred begets hatred. Hatred will not cease by hatred, right? So we are letting go of judgment. We are letting go of hatred. We are letting go of division and other and separatism. We're coming into unity consciousness, which means come into heart and love and compassion for all beings. All beings, right? Nothing can divide us if we see that we are from the same source, all drops of the same ocean. So if we want to create a beautiful world, we need to come into love, we need to come into heart, we need to come into compassion and emanate that from us and magnetize that towards us, right? The heart is so magnetic. Whatever you're wanting to bring into your life, you can magnetize it through your heart. But it means you have to be in a place of compassion, in a place of love, in a place of kindness and gentleness, right? So we can create the most beautiful, loving world. And that's not some, hippy dippy shit. Like, we can create that, but it's our choice. And we see what we believe. So if you believe it, you will see it. Whichever way you choose to believe, you will see that thing, right? So we get to choose right now. So I want to wish you really happy holidays, a wonderful, hopefully restful, peaceful time, full of love and joy and gratitude and compassion and heart. So much heart. And to those of you that have been with me and following me this year, or maybe even longer, just thank you truly from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this energetic conversation. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your willingness to grow and expand and evolve and to come into a more loving, authentic place within yourself and showing up in the world as that. And that creates that ripple effect, that point of inspiration that ripples amongst everyone that we come across in our lives and beyond, because everything is energetic. So thank you for showing up and doing the work and being a source of love yourself. And thank you for hearing and allowing me to do what I love doing, which is just bringing more love and compassion and authentic expression into this world. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Wishing you really happy holidays, a happy new year. And as always, always, always trust your gut, trust your intuition. So take it or leave it as feels right for you, and loving you from afar. You've been listening to Raw Conversations with Corinne Bloom. Thanks so much for showing up, listening in, and being a part of the conversation with me.